just one of the sessions that are beginning this remarkable and very important weekend on media democracy in this country. I'm Amy Goodman, host of Democracy Now! I hope you all watch it, listen to it. And today we have an illustrious panel to talk about Wikileaks journalism and modern-day muckraking. The panelists, Emily Bell, Glenn Greenwald, Greg Mitchell, Christopher Warren, Mika Sifri. We're going to hear from each of them for around 7 minutes, and then we're going to have a conversation, and we want you to join in that. So as you think of questions, just pass them forward on your index cards. We have about, an hour and 20 minutes for this discussion. I really do think of information as power, information that we get to make decisions about how our country should act can determine whether people live or die. WikiLeaks, in one of its releases of the Iraq war logs, showed us that in February of 2007 there was an Apache unit hovering overhead. 2 men below raised their hands and surrendered. The soldiers in the Apache helicopter call back to base. The lawyer on the base says you cannot surrender to a helicopter, and the men below are blown away. This was in February of 2007. If we knew that at the time, I think there would have been an outcry. There would have been a call for an investigation. And if that investigation were done, perhaps there would have been charges brought, but at least we would have learned about it at the time. And why does it matter? Well, we'll move forward just 5 months to July of 2007. July 2007, that took place in February of 2007. The videotape that was released by WikiLeaks of the same Apache helicopter unit in New Baghdad, hovering over this area of Baghdad. To say the least, chilling, as you hear the soldiers laughing, cursing, not though acting as rogue soldiers, constantly calling up the chain of command to decide whether they should blow away the men below, the men they saw gathered. Among them, it turns out, was Namir Noreldin, a young up-and-coming videographer for Reuters, Saeed Shema, the fixer, the driver for Reuters, who was beloved by many Reuters reporters. Fixers, drivers are the protectors of the reporters and the photographers, often the ones that bring them to the story. 40 years old, father of 4. And a group of men are showing them what is happening in this war-ravaged area. The Apache helicopter above blows them all away. I think it was Saeed Shema that was trying to crawl away. Didn't quite die in the first blast. And so then pulls up to help him. And there the helicopter, and all of this is on the videotape. It's not a peace activist videotape from the ground, but the videotape taken by the Apache helicopter itself. And the van pulls up. There are children in the van, people who are coming out to help the wounded. And that's when the Apache helicopter opens fire again. And they kill those in the van. They critically wound the children. And on Democracy Now!, just by chance, last year, after this all came out, we were interviewing a young soldier named Ethan McCord, who was one of those involved with a protest calling for President Obama not to send PTSD soldiers back to Afghanistan and Iraq. They were marching from, I think it was, Walter Reed Hospital to Arlington Cemetery, saying, please don't send us back. And I asked Ethan McCord, who was on that march, why are you on this march? Why do you feel so strongly? He said he had a horrible experience July 12th, 2007. He was one of a few soldiers on the ground this Apache helicopter had opened fire on these civilians below, and he was the one who held the children. And he handed them over and went back to base. He was washing the blood from the children on his shirt, and he asked his staff sergeant if he could see mental health. He said he was just torn apart. He could not get the images out of his head, and they told him to suck it up. And he's been falling apart ever since. Just learning that story by chance. That's the story that's on that videotape as well. And interviewing another soldier who was sick that day. And he didn't go out in the Apache helicopter. And when his brothers came back, when the other soldiers came back and described what happened, when he saw the videotape, he knew that that was what they were describing. And we had him on, he said, I don't understand why you're making such a big deal of this. And I said, well, why? Don't you think it's significant when these reporters, these young children, injured, killed? And he said, no, I do think it's a big deal. But this happens every day. Why just focus on this? I think WikiLeaks matters. I think it is a matter of life and death. If we had known at the time what happened in February of 2007, I dare say that July 2007 would not have happened. So what does it mean to get this information? That's what we're going to talk about on the panel today. To people who are dedicated to transparency and what it means to have WikiLeaks and to go beyond what it means for journalism today.